Okay, welcome everybody. My name is Brian Griffith. I'm the Executive Director for Shape Maryland. I would like to thank all of you for registering at this late time. We do apologize. There was some miscommunication and everything else, but thank you for being a part of this special presentation. We have three different sessions provided by One Love. So we would like to thank Grace Carmichael and One Love Foundation for providing these healthy relationship webinars to us and sharing their free resources that are available and accessible by everyone. So again, thank you for being a part. This is Shape Maryland. I'm Brian Griffith, and I would like to introduce Grace Carmichael. Grace is with One Love Foundation. There is a lot of history in the state of Maryland related to the One Love Foundation and a lot of the resources they have provided for a number of different related to health education on healthy relationships. And we are so thankful that they are a partner and providing these webinars for us on behalf of Shape Maryland. So thank you, Grace, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Sounds good. Thank you, Brian. I'm excited for the opportunity. I know we've done a few professional development series with you all before, and really excited to be able to offer you kind of the intro 101, everything you need to know about One Love, but also some really exciting new things that we have for you, so even if you are an expert. So Grace Carmichael, I am the engagement manager for the Maryland, DC, and Virginia region. We have been working out of this office for about, let's say, over 4 years now. So really excited to be able to work with a lot of different counties and to be able to work with you today. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I will say in the end, we are going to save Q&A for the very end. So feel free to type in the chat, write it down. I want to make sure we can get through a bulk of the content and make sure we can answer all of your questions at the end. This is going to be an interactive presentation, so there will be points in here in which I'm stopping. We might be having a little bit of a conversation. I'm actually going to have you do a do now situation, so an opportunity for you to actually go online and create your own account, which will make more sense in 1 second. So jumping into it. So what we're going to overview in the next hour is really an overview, intro to One Love, if this is your first time chatting with me or the organization. And I'm also going to preview the One Love Education Center. This is new this fall and is going to be your best friend in terms of accessing all of our free resources, all of our videos, all of our workshops, and accessing everything you need that is One Love related to help you in your classroom for teaching about healthy relationships. So you're actually going to have an opportunity to go in and create an Education Center account. If you already have one, don't worry, I have something else that you can do. We're going to do a little scavenger hunt, and then I want to hear from you. So what's working, what's not working? Did you access the account? What do you like about it? What you don't like about it? Because this is 1.0, as we say, of the Education Center. We will have other versions coming out, and we want to make it as perfect as possible for you. So the goal is your own personal intro to One Love 101. This is for you to ask questions, and this is really designed to give you everything you need so that you can confidently bring our workshops, our content materials, from your home, obviously because we're virtual, but also to your classrooms, because I know a few of you will be going back this spring. So before we dive into the content portion, I believe it's really important to think about a little bit of reflection. So for the next 30 seconds, you can think in your head, feel free to write it down, type it out. Would love for you to think about, what do you hope for your students will know about healthy relationships by the time they graduate? So for the next 30 seconds, just think about, what's your hope for your students? All right, quick 30 seconds. So just hold on to those thoughts. If you want to still keep writing or jotting those down, that's absolutely fine, but you will have an opportunity to share them if you're comfortable in a few moments. So brief overview of One Love and the work that we do. One Love educates people about the importance of relationship health. Obviously, as health educators, you are here. And by the title of this, we're going to be talking about healthy relationships. But the most critical component to that is that we are providing young people with the skills, the tools, conversation methods of how they can identify the difference between healthy and unhealthy, how they can talk to a friend, how they can access resources, because we firmly believe that 100% of us are in relationships, whether it's professional, personal, intimate friendships, or it's just somebody that you're passing on the street, or maybe somebody, you know, that works at the grocery store that you see every day. But we also believe that 100% of us can learn how to love better if we start the conversation. So we see these healthy and unhealthy signs, but it's really how are we recognizing what we're seeing? How are we giving it a label? How are we giving it vocabulary words to discuss what we're seeing and experiencing every day? So while I know it's oftentimes buzzwords for everybody to talk about, you know, SEL or talking about the standards and all of that, but it really is important to note that this is influenced in all of our content. So we do bring in all SEL competencies as well as all of the Maryland State Health Education standards. I'm actually working on a template right now where our learning objectives, which you'll see in a minute, are explicitly aligned to the Maryland State Health Education standards as well as the national state standards, which is key. And of course, SEL. We believe that supporting students' mental health, especially when they're talking about healthy and unhealthy relationships, is critical to the work that we do. So oftentimes when you are doing this workshop, I encourage you to reach out to the counselors, social workers. I'm doing that in tandem as well when we work with districts and health curriculum, but also important to make sure that we're taking care of our students on a deeper level as well. So just an overview of why this work is so important. So when we look at unhealthy and abusive relationships, we see that 1 in 2 trans or non-binary individuals, 1 in 3 women, and 1 in 3 men will be in an abusive relationship at some point in their lifetime. One Love, as Brian mentioned, has a deep-rooted history with Maryland. We were founded in honor of a girl who did lose her life to relationship violence when she was a senior in college, and she was from Baltimore. So this is really where the movement started. I really feel it's a privilege to be able to work here in this space, you know, where it all began, and work with our students so we can truly change these statistics for the future. So what do we actually support youth to do? Understand the 10 signs of a healthy and unhealthy relationship, which we'll get to in a minute, as well as practicing these healthy behaviors. You know, once they recognize the unhealthy, it's how can they how can they actually enforce the healthy? How can they actually practice those, whether it's conversation or activities? Keeping in mind, we're constantly thinking about how can students develop these skills when we're talking about the healthy and unhealthy. Communicating boundaries and practicing consent. These boundaries could be boundaries from time, of space for their bodies, boundaries with other people, and then consent as well. How to help a friend. If those statistics might not be that individual, you definitely will see a friend, family member, come across somebody in your life who is experiencing this. So it's important for that. Navigating breakups, which are often the most sticky time and can be potentially the most fatal time in a relationship if physically abusive. And lastly, accessing resources. Because we are solely prevention and education, it's critical that we have community partners. We provide our educators with resources that they can turn to or provide for their students whenever they're talking about and or using our content. So overview of our videos, which I'll be taking a little bit deeper dive once we hop on the Education Center. But these videos, we range from middle school all the way through high school and escalation. Would love to see in the chat a quick yes or a no. Have you ever used or shown One Love videos in your classroom before? So I'll take 2 seconds for you to type in the chat. Yes, yes. Ooh, love. Yes. Oh, okay. This is awesome. So you guys, great. So we have 1 no. Also great. Thank you so much for coming. Oh no, great. Well, I'm really excited to share these resources with you so that hopefully you can bring them to your classroom. Keeping in mind, my number 1 job is to support you all in bringing this content to the classroom. So don't worry, it's not going to be me showing you this and then saying, okay, go run, go fly. It's like a baby bird jumping out of a tree. I get it. So definitely lean on me and on each other who might have used this content as well. So these 10 signs of a healthy and unhealthy relationship, this is really the main driver of our work. These are the 10 most common signs. We do understand that there's a lot more vocabulary words that come along with healthy and unhealthy behaviors in relationships. It's definitely a creative idea to get your students to think of more. What else do they see and experience every day in their lives? But we want to make sure we're looking at the healthy ones, like healthy conflict. How can you have healthy communication when 2 people disagree? How can you remember to have fun in a relationship, as well as respect each other? And then looking at the unhealthy signs, how can you look at deflecting responsibility? How can you look at isolation and what isolation means, especially now since we've all been home and distance learning? Isolation has a whole new meaning. And so we look at that a little bit deeper as well. Just like possessiveness, also known as control and intensity. But keeping in mind, possessiveness or isolation are the two most common signs of an unhealthy or an abusive relationship when they first start out. So we start with these, and they are an undercurrent in everything that we do. So I would love to hear from you in the chat, or feel free to unmute yourself and talk. What signs stand out to you? And if you're comfortable and want to share something from your journal as well of what your hope for your students is, feel free. So I'll give you a minute to type, or feel free to unmute yourself. And this is where I get really comfortable with it being quiet because I know everyone's typing. Isolation. Thank you, MG. I hope to teach students the difference between healthy and unhealthy. Yes, thank you, Allison. Yeah, manipulation by guilt tactics. That's huge. Yes, absolutely. We look at that peer pressure. Let's hear from a couple more people. Intensity and possessiveness with middle school relationships. Absolutely. Yeah. Because when we're talking about this content, it is when we first started as an organization, we worked with colleges and universities and going younger and younger and younger. And we're now developing content around healthy friendships, eventually hoping to work in elementary schools. But right now we work middle school and up. I'm not sure where it fits, but the idea that because you love someone, it's okay if they hurt you, belittling is a part of this. Yes, absolutely. We even have a piece of content called Because I Love You, which fits within that perfectly. And I'm happy to share that to you in a little bit. Great. Well, thank you all so much for participating in the chat. I love when there's an active chat. It just makes the conversation better. So I appreciate it. So jumping straight into our education center. This is your one-stop shop for everything One Love related. My role as the engagement manager is to support you all, provide you with resources. This is supplemental. If you've seen me before or I look familiar, I've done a lot of professional development series with different health curriculum departments. So you can't just reach out, or you can reach out to me at any time. It's not like I just work on the on the upper level. So I'm here to support you. This education center is definitely supplemental. It's for when you can just go online and host your workshop and access materials. And you'll see what I mean in a minute. So the goals is this learning platform is for you so you can truly explore it. This is where you get to get creative. Let's say you want to talk about a topic around technology and social media. We have that segment on here. So variety of offerings and workshops that fit your needs. These really is also an asynchronous learning center. So while there's definitely opportunities to, like right now, log online, see me live, hear me talk, interact, we can always meet separately, but you can also go online and get trained as well. Our schedules are super busy and they don't always align with things that are offered. So if you can't make it, or there's something else that's piquing your interest during the same PD, you can go online and receive training still through here. Keeping in mind that our videos are still free, and there's also not formal trainings required for everything. They have quick videos, quick intro videos, facilitation tips and tricks, and then over 130, and I actually think there's now over 140 as of yesterday, resources at your disposal that we have curated and created for you according to each workshop. So that is clear and explicit, which I will show you too. So when we think about the Education Center 101, we're really looking at these courses. So all those videos that I showed, or the little snippets, is all on our website. All on the Education Center. If you have worked with One Love before, you may have noticed that you can go online, you can watch the videos on YouTube, on our website. that is actually going to be going away. So you'll be able to watch trailers, you'll be able to see short clips, but you will not have full access to our videos. But you will on the Education Center. So that's why you see One Love constantly blasting this everywhere, because that's where you're going to have full access to everything that you need. So just want to keep that in mind. Just so all of a sudden, if you log in, you're like, I can't figure this out, or why isn't this showing up? It's because it's on our Education Center, which is why we're promoting it so much. So in terms of navigating it, I am going to unshare my screen in a second, but this is just a brief screen grab so that you can see that it is on our homepage. So if anybody's been to our homepage before, you can see it scrolls, it's on the main page right here where you can see the little mouse, thanks to my friend Madeline who created this. But you can also actually go up to the top bar and click on the Education Center under the Education tab, and you'll be brought to it. So I'm going to go ahead and reshare my screen new and actually show it to you and walk you through. So I do want to pause and start with, does anybody have any questions before I dive into showing you the Education Center? And or would love to hear in the chat or unmute yourself, do you already have an Education Center account? So I'm seeing a nod, seeing a nod. So I'm seeing yes, awesome. Sign up today. Oh, yay. Okay, you all are so on top of it. Okay, so some of it might be review, but hopefully you can just get an even deeper understanding of how it works and what's it up to. And again, no worries if you haven't, that's also exactly why you're here. So you'll see on our website right now, also, sorry, somebody's trying to come in. My partner's trying to come in the door right now, and we just got a new house and the lock is a little sticky. So sorry for the background noise, but it's working from home life, right? So you'll go to the home page. As you saw on that little quick screen grab, you'll be able to see the Education tab. So you can click right here. You can click on the Education Center. You can also scroll all the way down. And so this is where you'll see everything you need, the Education Center. It's highlighted on quite a few different pages, so it's pretty hard to miss. You can also always just go up to the search bar as well. So you're going to want to go in and hit Get Started. So you're going to be brought to this, to our homepage, the landing page for the Education Center. Once you have an account, typically it'll allow you to save the password and you won't have to log in each time, or depending on your browser. But I know for me, if I'm already logged in, then I'm usually good to go. So I signed up using my personal email so that it wouldn't get all confused with my One Love email. So I already have an account, so it's going to look a little bit different. But if you don't, you'll be able to go down here and click Create an Account. When you go online and create an account, it'll say first name, last name, country, city, phone number, which is optional. So everything without an asterisk. We understand there's some personal information that people don't want to share. I really don't know why there would be a reason that we would call you other than maybe we have a good working relationship. I just don't know your phone number and I've emailed you a few times. I might give you a call. I don't know. But usually we're pretty good with boundaries, as well as we want to know who you are. What's your job title? What's your role? What school are you affiliated with? We love to know all those details, mostly because we love to give credit to the schools that are doing this amazing work. We want to highlight you on our website. We want to highlight you on our social media. So if you're using our work and sharing it with your students, please let us know and tell us. All right, so let's get logged in. So like I said, it'll look a little bit different because I've already gone through it before. And everybody will have their own password, will have their own information. If you have any troubleshooting or tech issues, I'm not a techie person, but I will get you in touch with somebody in our national office who will take care of that. All right, so you can see once I'm in this homepage, it says, all right, I'm ready, I'm here to facilitate. You'll see on the top bar, you'll see the dashboard, which is where we are today. You'll be able to click on courses, which gives you an overview. Bear with my internet, there we go. You'll be able to see all these courses that are available to you, which translates to our workshops. So maybe you've hosted an escalation workshop. The phrase, I think somebody mentioned in the chat, because I love you, is right here. So this is everything that we have offered. As our content continues to grow, we will have more offerings available on these different courses. So everything related to One Love workshops is going to be here. There's only 2 prerequisite courses that you need to take before actually accessing our videos. They're really quick. They're only 2 or 3 minutes. So, for example, I'm going to hit revisit course. So I apologize. I know it looks a little different. Hit revisit course. So you'll have an About One Love where you watch a really brief video. So I'm going to go ahead and play it for you all.
Love is the most important thing in our lives. Yet we're taught very
You can
little
drag to the
about it.
end.
The One Love Foundation is on a mission to change.
All right, by the time it's over,
Love is the most important.
you should be able to click, oh, because I've already done it. That's why it's not letting me hit next. I could go through and click it. So you watch just the 10 signs of healthy and unhealthy. This is a really great video. It actually overviews the 10 signs of healthy and unhealthy in 3.5 minutes. And then there's a brief final quiz. So I'm going to go back to our courses now. And the next one is effective facilitating tips. This is really great because it'll give you tips and tricks on how to host One Love workshops. So the available courses, I want to give an overview for anybody who is new to our material on this call. Escalation is our original video. This is 45-minute film followed by a 45-minute discussion. It's perfect for 80-minute class periods. It's also reserved for in-person. Because the sensitivity of the content, we are strongly encouraging our educators to host this when we're back in person because there is a death of one of the characters at the end of the film. However, there are counties that I do work with who know their students, they know their communities, and have been showing this film. So all of these films are up to your counties. I know depending on where you are from, some are already embedded in your curriculum. Others I'm in conversation with right now. So having the support from our educators is really huge in terms of getting content into the classroom. Second is Behind the Post. This is a 7-minute film that follows social media and a relationship between 2 people. In this content, it shows lots of unhealthy emotional behaviors and how social media plays a role. So in this, you see the person's actual Instagram up, the feeds, how our unhealthy behavior is being, confirmed through likes and comments, and how our behavior is being deflected by apologizing and looking at that cycle of abuse. Amor del Bueno is one of our newer films. This film is 15 minutes long. It's phenomenally well done. And I say that also because it is developed by one of our student ambassadors from California out of our Bay Area office. So they created this film. We ended up using it and adding it to our library of content. Follows a Latinx couple, and it also brings in conversations around generational abuse and conversations around, okay, how can we talk about those healthy and unhealthy dynamics that we might see in the home? How are they translating to our lives that we're experiencing, and how we're developing our own relationships, which is really important when we're talking to our young people. Next is Love Labyrinth. This is a 3-minute video that talks about the cycle of violence. As you see, the apologies, things that are healthy, and then all of a sudden you feel like they're walking on eggshells, and then they start to turn again. Because I love you, which was mentioned in the chat earlier, is a phrase oftentimes used. I wait for you after class because I love you, or I want to check your text messages because I want to make sure you're not cheating on me because I just love you so much. Or things I've heard from students is just share your location services, your location with me, share it on Snapchat. It's because I love you so much, right? I just want to make sure you're safe. So but we also have a conversation into what do other phrases look like. It's because I care about you. I'm the only one for you, things like that. And then lastly, couplets, a personal favorite. These are 8 15-second animated videos that show explicit examples of the difference between healthy and unhealthy behaviors. All right, so now that we've seen the courses, the next is resources. So this is where I mentioned this is your library of like over 140 resources for you. We do have them categorized based on workshop materials, topics, and tools and resources. You can also always search anything. So let's say you want to talk about technology. Of course, it's not loading. So my internet is being funky, but I promise if you go in the search bar and search something, it'll pop up. And then you can also scroll down to what's being featured. So this February, we're focusing on our new Love is Learned campaign, which if we have the time, I'd love to share at the end. In our Love is Learned campaign, we're talking about how we're practicing those healthy behaviors. I also want to highlight our new LGBTQIA+ relationships workshop, actually developed by one of my colleagues here in Baltimore. And so we co-created that with Free State Justice, a nonprofit organization in Baltimore. And we're just constantly highlighting everything that's new. So you can always click on resources. And if you're wondering what's new or need a new campaign or fun things to add to your curriculum, this is the best bet to access those. Or you can always just reach out to me. So dashboard. So let's say, so when you do come on here, the first thing you're going to see is those prerequisite courses, as well as other workshops that are listed. So once you get those prerequisite courses out of the way, that's how you will be able to access everything. So let's go in and let's do a Because I Love You course. So I can go through and I'll redo it just so you have an idea. All right. So the first module that you'll do is actually to watch the film. So the film, I must say, the film for this training portion is the full film, but I'm going to show you how you can actually access the workshop film at the end, which is even more full version, which will provide resources, which will eventually provide those pieces of the content warning, the trigger warning, everything in the beginning. So this is just the training video. You actually do have to log your workshop to access all the actual legitimate workshop materials. So once you play the film,
because I love you.
and I'm dragging it to the end for the sense of time. All right. So usually there's a little thing that'll say next topic and you'll be able to click down. Again, because I already did it, it looks a little different. The next one is going to be workshop tips. And this is content where it didn't show the screen grab of me, but I am in this film, introing also the video. So while this is a bit longer, it is going to give you all those tips and tricks that you need on how to be an effective facilitator with specifically Because I Love You. All right. So there you see me. We scroll to the end because we don't need to see that. And so that's all recommendations that you see in the video. Then you can click finish. And then it'll say this, it'll give you a little badge at the end saying, yay, you're all done. So let's say you want to go back and you actually want to host your workshop. So the best way to do that is you're going to click on courses because you will be able to see everything that's available to you. So let's say we want to jump into Because I Love You. Right, so we're going to grab it because it has a big check mark on it. When you are ready to host your workshop, you are going to click on that video and click plan and hold your workshop. So this is some pre-workshop planning. Feedback that we've gotten all the time is, oh, I need to go online and just test the video clip to make sure our tech works. We think that is absolutely necessary as well. That's why we have provided you a test clip right here. So again, not the full video, but a test clip if you ever are in a different classroom or a virtual setting. So then when you're actually ready to host your workshop, that is where you are going to fill out all the information to do so. So let's say you are in, I'm going to do a shout out here for Baltimore County. Let's say you're at Hereford High School. I don't know why that's not working. Okay, then you're going to hit school type. It'll be public. You're going to scroll down and look for your state, which is Maryland. We'll do health class. So the audience age, let's say we're working with high school. Say there's 24 participants. And what's the date today? The 2nd. Workshop format is going to be virtual. You'll hit submit. And if it loads, fingers crossed. Well, this isn't fun. All right, there we go. Yay. Okay. Again, that's my internet. That should not happen for you. So this is where you have the film. So once you fill out, you go into courses, you click your selected video, fill out that brief survey, and this is everything you have. So you have the film as well as the survey. So on that page before, you will have seen all those downloadable resources as well, this pre-workshop planning, and then you can go to resources. So you have all these workshop materials. as well for all of our films, all of our content, additional materials like LGBTQ+, which we do have content being developed. So I'm going to take you back to the dashboard just so you have an idea of what it looks like from the front. And I'll take you through one more time for a different video. So let's say you're ready to do Amor del Bueno. I'm going to click on it. We're going to hit plan and hold your workshop. Again, here are those curated actual discussion posts or points that you can have. You can download them. The only things that you can't download are the videos, which you can access by here by actually, again, like I said, filling out that little workshop tip, and hopefully it'll load faster than I did. All right, so I'm going to take you back. So would love for you all to actually go and do it yourselves now. So I'm going to type in the link right here, and you have the opportunity to go online and create an account right now. If you already have one, then I will flip to the next slide, which will be our little scavenger hunt. But I'm sending you to the direct link right now. All right, so feel free to unmute yourself to type in the chat when you have completed it. So let's see here, there's 9 people, myself, so 7 people on here. So feel free to type a quick, I'm in, or I have an account and I'm in when you are finished. So I'll give you all a few minutes to complete this. Great, thank you, Erica. So sit tight for 1 second. Like I said, I'm not a pro tech person, so I'm crossing my fingers and toes that there's no troubleshooting issues. But if there are, I'll make sure to get your name and obviously send you an email after this. But I did host a training, knock on wood, the other day, and I didn't have any issues. So. Okay, so we have 3 I'm-ins. Yay, another one. An error message, okay. Ratisha, let me make a note of that. All right, do you know if you happen to have an account, or I'm sorry, have you been trained in escalation before? Or is there any reason as to why you might be in our system as a trained facilitator? Latisha, let me know. And I say that because if yes, all of our facilitators are already in our system. Were sent an email a while ago. I mean, a really long time ago. So no worries if you missed it. That said, oh, okay, not to your knowledge. All right. Sometimes it can be the browser. I say that because anybody who's been trained in our content before might be in our system. It sent you basically click here to create your account, and it basically allows you to bypass all of those trainings because we know that you're familiar with One Love content. If not, which is your case, feel free. I'm going to type my email in here. I'm going to reach out to you, but feel free to send me an email as well if you would like, and we'll figure that out. I know sometimes the issue can be Chrome. If there's any blockers, I'm not sure what county you are with, but hopefully the county doesn't have our education center blocked as well. So we'll get that figured out. So I'm sorry about that. So the next slide, which is going to be a little bit difficult for you, but is going to be the scavenger hunt. So would love for you all, now that you are in the education center, so if you should maybe try a different browser so we can get you up and running, and or maybe try a different email as well. Just let us know what school you're with. So I would love for you all to go to the resource library. Find something that piques your interest, that interests you. Maybe there's a course that you haven't taken yet and you're interested in. So identify one course, as well as just look at the different collections that you see on there. And then one or two suggestions or feedback. So what is really frustrating you about this? You will not hurt my feelings. I did not personally create the education center. So all feedback is good feedback, as well as what's something you do like about it. Is this helpful? So again, going to give you a few minutes to look at these checkboxes before we close it out and allow for some question and answers. Well, questions from you, answers from me. Ah, great. Thank you, Debbie. And feel free to write in the chat and update if you're having a hard time or need some help. That's why we're having this open live session for you to ask me questions in real time. So if you go online here, so once you're in the Education Center, feel free to click on our resources. I'm answering a direct message that I got. So you're going to click on our resources and find something that piques your interests. Click on it, see if you can download it and save it for yourself. Let's say if you wanted to use it in the future, we're just trying to get you comfortable with actually navigating the Education Center, downloading the resources, finding stuff that interests you, as well as courses. So feel free then to click on that courses tab up at the top. And if this is your first time actually being in the Education Center, find a course that you want to take. Maybe we'll do after this or do tomorrow, and hopefully use with your students. Thank you, MG and Carol. And I should say one thing. So as you saw those films, one thing that I didn't mention but is important is that these videos, they can range from 15-minute conversations or workshops to an hour and a half. So it's, I guess, a pretty big component that I left out. But so let's say you want to do 15-minute introduction and you want to talk about the 10 signs of a healthy and unhealthy relationship with your students. We have those downloadable resources for you. But let's say you have a 45-minute class period or a 50-minute class period, and you want to use, behind the post, show a 7-minute film and have, conversation about it. Great that thank you, Allison, for that. So I think we're pretty good. I think most of you all should be in right now. If so, feel free to put a quick yes in the chat and we can move on.
So if I understood you correctly, you said now that you are setting up the education center, the videos that I've used in the past won't be available on YouTube or what have you. I will have to come to the education center and put them into my slide presentations that I've been using for the past couple of semesters. So it's probably dead in terms of if I pull up one of my slideshows now, it won't be there. So I will have to come to the education center and reinsert it.
Yeah, so if you have links that are in PowerPoints now, it's likely that they will shift and change. So thank you for mentioning that. So yes, for accessing videos, you definitely will want to have the Education Center up. And then in terms of PowerPoints and other materials, in terms of staying up to date on our most current resources, Education Center is going to be your best friend, because that's where we will constantly be posting and updating the most relevant content. And those shift and change with statistics and current topics and events, things that are happening in media, as we want to stay relevant when we work with young people. So and depending on the platform as well, you'll see PowerPoints on there that we have. They are plug and play. So we put them in PowerPoint form so that you can download them and then of course edit them for what you need. But if you haven't used them in the past, yep, it'll look a little different. So thank you. And of course, I would say if that is an issue and it is just not working for you, then of course, send me a note and we can arrange something. But that's going to be pretty much the One Love standard moving forward. All right, so I'm going to move on for the sake of time, so we can have the last chunk of time here for you all to open it up for Q&A. So evaluation. This is how we keep our content free. What I would say evaluation is surveys. When you actually go into that host your workshop portion, you will have that QR code. So all you have to do is really, you can drag that into your PowerPoints, or you can have that up on your screen, and your students can, hold their phone up. As the educator, feel free to, hold that up as well. So not just surveys, but as well as data. So understanding who's using our content. I know that sounds so silly and so basic. We want to know who's hosting our workshops, again, because it is how we remain free. When we apply to grants and funding, if there's funding in Anne Arundel County, and all of a sudden One Love has the opportunity to receive, this is an exaggeration, $500,000, and they say, how many students are being educated with One Love content? And if we don't know what our teachers, are using, or then obviously, how are we going to get that money? So again, it's very basic, but we want to know what you're doing. Again, not just for funding to keep our offices open, to be frank, but also because we want to elevate what you're doing. I used to say, or not joke, but say, being a parent is the hardest job in the world. And now I'm like, yeah, scratch that. Being an educator is the hardest job in the world. Since I've been working at One Love and working with educators like yourselves. The kids spend all their time with you, and especially now more than ever during COVID. So we want to know what you're doing. We want to elevate your stories and how you're interacting with our kids. So please let us know. These surveys are really important for how we charter and navigate our work. And they also allow you to tell us what we should be doing. So if there's topics that you want to see addressed, if there are issues that are going in your classroom that just aren't being addressed in our material, that is actually how we develop new content. So when you see new topics, new ideas, we didn't even necessarily come up with them all by ourselves. We actually hear them from students and teachers. So that's also a really great incentive to fill them out, because we want to keep evolving based on what your needs are in the schools. So what is next? Like I said, this education center is version 1.0. There are going to be kinks. There are going to be issues. Reach out to us if you have any issues. Things to look forward to are going to be full translations in Spanish and Chinese, new and updated modules on instructional videos, so how to implement our content, including virtually, updated discussion guides. I have been on a panel of updating a lot of our discussion guides. Again, we want to stay relevant with media, statistics, all of that. As well as continue focus on accessibility services with all of our videos. So that does close out portion of Education Center. I do want to highlight a couple things that are regional. Is this Mid-Atlantic Education Network, or Educator Network? We have a cohort of over 65 educators that have come to us in various ways. It is a space for like-minded people, yourselves, to come together. This is high school teachers, college educators, DV organizations, any other nonprofit organizations. We're all interested in teaching about relationship health education. It is a low lift. We meet once a month for 45 minutes. They are typically recorded depending on the sensitivity of the content or engagement from the audience. And each one has a theme. So I know it's short notice, but we actually have our February meeting tomorrow for 4:30 to 5:15, always after the school day. And they're the first Wednesday of each month. And we're going to be talking about Valentine's Day. So whether it's the first time you're introducing a One Love content or a reintroduction, we're going to be going into our Love is Learned campaign, which really focuses on practicing those healthy behaviors. So feel free to send me a note or send more information in a recap email. Brian also can shout out. Brian can also blast that out, I'm sure as well. So upcoming sessions, as Brian mentioned in the beginning, to look forward to. So if with a little bit more notice, feel free to attend on February 9th. We will be talking specifically about teaching consent and communicating boundaries in a virtual environment, as that looks a little bit different. Don't worry, we are up on it. As well as the next one is session 3, teaching healthy LGBTQ+ relationships. We will be co-presenting with Free State Justice and my colleague Jamie, who helped create this. Same time frame, but towards the end of the month. So I really hope you'll be able to come back and see these more specific trainings, specifically around the content that we cover. So I would love just to close it out with, I'll unshare my screen here. With how do you plan to use the Education Center? Is this something that you would be interested in using? Do you think it would be helpful? Or are you like, no, Grace, this is a terrible idea? Please, so would love to open it up for Q&A, feedback, kind of, what are your next steps for this?
Well, I plan to continue using your information as I have been for a couple of years now.
Thank you.
I'm just now realizing I'm going to have to access it differently. So this is what, so I joined, when I saw the email this morning that Brian sent out, I immediately just went on and clicked on the link and I joined the Education Center at that time. And I took the first virtual training, the first class, and about the overall program. And so, in terms of my use of it, I want to continue using it
Great.
because I find that the students are very, some are unaware.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that they don't see, for example, they don't necessarily they recognize isolation. They do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a high school.
Okay.
They recognize isolation, but they may not recognize guilting and
Mm-hmm.
not recognizing those because that's a little deeper and they're still surface people,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of their
Yep. They're young. Yeah. Well, we say like high schoolers, everybody says go younger and younger. I'm like, high schoolers, they're still pretty. The topics in which we're addressing and the conversation content is definitely elevated, but comes down to actually deconstructing the behaviors. What high school are you with?
I'm at Rockville High School in Montgomery County.
Great, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Awesome. So I saw a lot of positive stuff in the chat. Is there anything that you would love to see differently? Again, you're not going to hurt my feelings. This is where we want feedback. Is anything difficult to navigate or unclear or questions you might have? You can also reach out to me at any time too.
Because I don't type as fast as others, I just rather just unmute myself and talk.
Hey, I love that. No, go ahead. And also for me too, I feel like I'm like looking at the chat, looking at this, looking at the chat. No, go ahead.
So I see Brian has posted the links for the February 9th and February 23rd. So should we register at that time? And now, because of the email earlier, you said you send us notification just before. So will that email still come out?
So the email to all Shape Maryland members will be coming out tonight to register for both of these.
Okay.
So because you were a part of it, we just included it here. Because you were a part of this one, your information will not be on any future ones. These are 3 individual ones that will for registration purposes.
Okay.
So if you want to attend both, we welcome. Please sign up for both.
Okay. I should do that now.
Please.
Yeah, and future sessions will be a lot more lecture style. I don't know if y'all liked the interactive piece of like going and doing it, but it's definitely going to be more, here's our content, here's what we have, conversation based, of course, because that's the nature of our work, but less go off and do it. More, here's a deep dive into a topic. I don't know if there's any more questions on here, but again, let me put my email in the chat, and Brian, if maybe you can share it afterwards as well.
We will, I'm going to thank everybody at this point in time. I'm going to stop recording, but that doesn't mean that we're kicking you out. If you still want to talk and everything else, please stay on, but I am going to stop recording at this point in time.